got what he wanted.
He's back. Springtrap is finally here. Fazbears Fright is opening to the public. Circus Baby will no longer just be a background tease. New animatronics are coming. Yeah, Lefty, we're looking at you. And honestly, the release date for Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is starting to look way clearer than people think. Welcome back, horror fans. This is First Slash, where we take what just happened, what's being teased behind the scenes, and then go full feral, imagining where this franchise should and could go next. Because after that ending, there's no universe where this story just stops. But come on, enough preamble, let's get into it. This is First Slash. Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Okay, quick recap, and no, I'm not gonna lore dump you here. You've seen the movies, you've lived through them, this is just getting us all on the same page. Movie 1 introduced the rules, and movie 2 blew the doors wide open, and now we're in a place where we've got not one, but two Afton kids. The OG animatronic spirits move into the great beyond, and Vanessa being possessed by Charlotte Emily, aka the puppet. Oh yeah, and we've also got Springtrap fully in play now. With all this, the second movie does something really important. It stops feeling like a standalone horror flick and starts screaming, this is a trilogy. Like, so much so that it would almost be cruel to stop making these movies after that ending in FNAF 2 movie. There is so much more to explore. So yeah, narratively, emotionally and financially, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 isn't a question of if, it's a question of when and how big they're gonna be willing to go. Now look, officially nothing has been announced. No press release, no logo, no release date slapped on a studio head's calendar. But let me put my analysis hat on for a second, because I've been covering this industry long enough to spot patterns when they're screaming at us. First of all, the big bad box office numbers. FNAF 2 is sitting roughly at 185 million worldwide. That makes it one of Blumhouse's higher grossing titles, a top 10 movie to be exact. Is it the breakout lightning strike that the first movie was? Well, no. That thing ran almost 300 million and did it while hitting streaming at the exact same time. But here's the key word: profit. FNAF 2 movie made money. Clean money, and Blumhouse doesn't really need billion-dollar hits, they need efficient ones. Honestly, something they haven't had a ton of lately. And if you're looking at the third movie and thinking, yeah, but budgets, well, congratulations. The third game literally hands you the solution. One animatronic, one location, contained horror. That's cheaper, that's tighter, and most importantly, it could be scarier. And on top of that, you've also got a hook that brings audiences back that may have skipped FNAF 2 movie. I'm talking about Springtrap. Away from the numbers though, the people involved are not being subtle either. Matthew Lillard has talked for years about the long game with his character. He's already teased that what comes next in the third movie would be cinematic magic. Jason Blum himself has said that if audience show up, he'd be very excited to make the third movie. Well, they showed up. Less than they did for the first movie, but they showed up. And then there's Daniel RPK, who, love him or hate him, doesn't throw production windows around lightly. He reported that FNAF 3 movie could begin filming as early as late summer 2026. If you take that seriously, the release window for the third movie can basically be predicted. Late 2027. And honestly, my money this time is on Halloween. The first movie thrived in October. I mean, October belongs to horror. And looking at the current 2027 calendar, there's space for FNAF to run the entirety of October and make even more dollars. If you were to tell me this thing's gonna drop at the end of September and then own the entire spooky season, I wouldn't even blink. In fact, I'd bet on it. Okay, let's pitch this thing. Enough business, this is First Slash. And you know what time it is? It's prediction time, baby. We're officially pivoting out of the facts and into speculation, pitches, and fan logic. If you're Blumhouse, if you're Animatronic, if you're sitting here thinking, how do we make the third movie hit harder than the second? Here's how I'd do it. Pitch 1, Circus Baby and the Afton Dynasty. How are we only now just talking about Circus Baby? I mean, seriously, you don't just introduce her even briefly and then just ignore it. That's not how this franchise works. And let's be honest, these movies love easy fan points. So what are the options for Circus Baby in FNAF Movie 3? Who could have possessed this big baby? My pick is another Afton child. Yes, I know, they just keep appearing, but at this point it's kind of funny. I can imagine Vanessa just revealing, oh yeah, I had another sibling, BT dub. But it works. Elizabeth Afton is right there. William's favourite child, the one he literally built Circus Baby for in lore. And if we're following that thread, it actually explains a lot in the movie universe. Baby kills Elizabeth. William loses the one kid he actually cared about, and suddenly his obsession with control, legacy and fixing death clicks into place. And in the movie canon, think Michael Afton as a kid is already being framed as trouble. So what if his jealousy pushed things too far? What if he scared Elizabeth the way kids do? And that moment ended with Circus Baby killing her. I know, it's all very Bite of 83, and yeah, it's meant to come across like that. We've still not had this moment on the big screen yet, and I'd honestly be fine with them tweaking and showing a different version of it, with Circus Baby instead of Fredbear. Because of this, William now hates Michael, Vanessa becomes the replacement, and Michael grows up desperate for his father's approval, even if that means continuing the nightmare. He wants to impress his father. I'm so here for an Afton unhinged family drama. Pitch 2. Lefty enters the picture. Alright, now let's talk solutions. At this point, Mike and Abby are completely outmatched. Springtrap is active, Vanessa is possessed, the Afton family dynasty is stacking villains up like Pokemon. So how do you fight that? Well, I think you bring in Lefty. In the games, Lefty is built by Henry Emily for one purpose, to capture and contain the puppet. He's a walk-in prison, a solution disguised as yet another monster. That translates beautifully to the film universe. And look, while I don't think the games go in this angle, what if Garrett, the kid everyone assumed that would become the puppet, is actually the one who ends up inside Lefty? He's not a monster, but he's the balance. Garrett becomes the thing that finally brings Charlotte peace. The animatronic designed to end the cycle instead of continuing it. Come on, that brings all these movies together in such a beautiful way. And that's way more interesting than just another killer robot. Yeah, they're gonna want to add new ones because these things are very, very marketable. But this way, there's story behind it. Pitch 3. Horror goes public. Now let's talk the setting, and I'll be honest, when the second movie started expanding outward, it lost me a bit. It lost what made the first one scary. FNAF works best when people are trapped, contained, isolated, nowhere to run, and Fazbears Frights in the third movie will fix this. Let's not pretend that the second movie didn't set that up. We are 100% getting Fazbears Fright next time around. A live operating attraction. People choose to go inside. They laugh, they film, they think it's a fake haunted house. This is where the franchise can have fun again. Real crowds, real panic, real deaths, mistaken for special effects and attractions. You don't need rated R gore. No, I'm well beyond trying to campaign for that in these movies. But you do need tension, you need timing. Ultimately, more people in a contained environment means we can all have more fun in the audience. Go back to the fundamentals of what FNAF is. That's when FNAF and these movies work the best. So yeah, that's where my head is at. Circus Baby stepping out of the shadows, the Afton family imploding from the inside, Lefty making his debut, and Fazbears Fright turning Freddy's into a public nightmare. Now I want to hear from you, which pitch works for you, what would you want to see in FNAF 3 movie, and how far do you want this franchise to go? Drop your theories, your ideas and your unhinged takes in the comments down below, because this channel is built on that conversation, and you never know, your comments might even feature in an upcoming video. If you want more Five Nights at Freddy's coverage, then make sure you're subscribed. We've got a lot more coming over the weeks, months and years. This has been First Slash, and remember, he always comes back.